My chair's a little low today. That's okay. Hi, Nick Tuckert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Well, folks, I got a big show in mind tonight. We've got some industry news, a quick reaction discussion to the latest Mandalorian, bit of spoilers if you haven't seen it, so I'll try to keep it light, but we're going to go. I'm going to live show you how to make a $70 to $80 fencing target for my current price outlay of things I didn't have on hand is $1. So we got a lot to cover. Let's get into it. Before we start the show, as always, I need to thank my lovely patrons. Good evening, Miss Cindy Cap. The lovely Cindy Cap, who is the person I am waiting on some supplies for. I've got something special for all my patrons. 2 of the 3 projects are done. I'll give you guys a glimpse of what I did to thank the awesome people like Cindy Cap, CKOEPP.com. She's an author, artist. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman. Very, very talented. Anyway, she helps keep the light on, with like my other patrons, who I absolutely adore. The other way I keep the lights on are by selling things like The Simple Sword, the Historical Fencing Guild's Manual of Defense, Volume 1. You guys who watch know if I'm stammering this bad through my opening, you know I'm excited about what I've got to put on. Film for you guys tonight. Wow, film, I'm dated. Also, by the Big Stompy Robots line, which I will be shooting sometime this week, a new stop-motion set in this universe. That is my plan as part of the Thanksgiving celebration. So you'll watch for that on my other channel, my alternate, which is the Nicholas Tuckert channel, which is just random creations and hodgepodges that I couldn't put anywhere else. So you might look into that if you're interested. If you like what you're seeing, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to buy my books, www.amazon.com/author/Nicholas Tuckert. That's me. I keep my books low so that you guys can train and get in shape. Well, wow. We have so much to discuss. If you haven't seen Mandalorian, if you're not following it, you should. There was a fight that is in my bailiwick. There were several. Without giving any spoilers, I'm going to give the fight one viewing, mind you. One viewing, about a B-, which is very high, especially for Star Wars battles. What I am seeing really neat from the Star Wars television series, especially like the end of Rebels, like the Clone Wars, obviously. And this, the Mandalorian is much more in the flow of the Clone Wars. There were some fights, and without a full breakdown, which if you guys are interested, I may go a bit more blow to blow. It was pretty good, and it was plausible. I like seeing aging characters starting to fight smarter. Because there's this mythos that young people and old people fight the same in Hollywood. I think it's because Hollywood kind of worships youth and prettiness. And hand-to-hand combat is something that requires experience. And you have this arc of where your physicality may decline slowly, but your experience is building up. So that intersection where you have an experienced but physically able person is it's a neat thing to see. And while it's easier on the effects budget, obviously, it's also, to me, a lot more practical fights, So I'm really excited, and I'm excited for the groundwork they're laying. I hope I didn't give too many spoilers. Later I may get into more. But I told you I'd have problems. Since Cindy's here, she'll have to wait because I ran out of some supplies that are on order. But I am doing custom art as a gift for my patrons. And this is for Steve Augusta, and this is for the lovely Brian K. Morris, who, if he's not watching my show right now, because he's watching Carl's Secret Humor Group. These are the line works. I don't know if I'm going to color them or not. I'd love for people's opinion. Cindy's is still in the work, But my stack, I like to do very certain sizes for certain projects. And a can of Mountain Dew killed a stack of, oh, thank you, of my drawing paper, which in this case isn't terribly expensive, but specific. I like the 4x6 cardstock. So I get the index cards actually to draw on, and a whole stack of them bit the dust. So these still have to be erased and cleaned up, but you guys can stop and pause that and see something that they don't know is coming. I'll put that up on nickT.deviantart.com, my art gallery, and a few other things. But okay. Thank you, by the way. Two viewers, 2 likes. That's all a guy could ask for. And as always, though I have a lot more than usual to be prattling on about, I really hope you guys remember to feel free to interrupt me to ask questions, make comments, whatever. We're going to start the evening with a bit of industry discussion. Now, you guys know that I usually check Purple Heart, and I've been following, and I've yet to see that $50 rapier. In that they have it, they have a slot for it, but the picture isn't up, so I haven't been able to hear anything from Christian. I may have to email Christian Dorse at Purple Heart Armory and see if I can't get a sneak preview picture for you guys, because $50 is one of those price lines. What makes Nick? That's a great question. Usually a mix of caring for people more than myself, a vast quantity of caffeine, and compressed into a Hobbit-like version of Saul Rubinek. With apologies, of course, to Saul Rubinek. But I'm eager for Monday. I've got something coming in the mail I don't know about Monday from John Miner, who's joined us today. We're going to get into the industry news, and it's not Purple Heart. It's my other favorite retailer, Zen Warrior Armory. Now, for the people who don't know, for the last, 20 plus years, Zen Warrior has been supplying SCA fencing rapiers. Some of my favorite, if you're going to buy a rapier off the market, come from ZWA. I know them back when they were triplet and they had it branched off because they used to just be a sport fencing supplier. That being said, they did something. And I don't know if you know this, John. I went to check back on some parts prices, actually looking up some stuff for Cindy Kep. And they have changed the name of their entire line of swords. It's not that they put out a lot of new stuff, but they have actually renamed. What they had was a very auto Saturn feeling classification, R for rapier and a number for the model. And now they don't. They have remodeled their website and they've renamed all their rapiers. Now, I think that's to make it easier to discuss and to be more inclusive. So, weapons like people are used to, the R3, which was famous as being the cheapest, and by cheap I mean least expensive, fully assembled fencing rapier you could buy on the market, about 70 some odd bucks. Back in the day, it was a little lower, but is now the footman's rapier, for example. And the classic foil has been modified into the Dread Pirate, but they've thrown the classic saber grip has gotten the heavy pommel thrown on it, so that would handle quite a bit different. So it's interesting to see what they've done. So John, for example, might get a kick out of just hopping on and seeing the complete change in naming conventions. Now, I know there will be some people, well, it's been called this for as long as I can remember, and we know. The problem is ZWA has to compete not only with the Hanwei weapons and like people like Darkwood and Alchem. Now, Alchem can be cheaper, usually they're not, But they also are competing with things like Cult of Athena because they want to sell their practical rapiers for Renaissance attendees, because there is an increasing movement among a lot of Ren fairs not to allow sharp blades in, but they will allow practical, non-edged blades. And there goes my cap. Mandy was helping me, and she accidentally broke the cap off the top my beverage. Well, let's get that. I'm still on screen. But so that's huge, folks. The idea that the entire Rapier line has been, the website's been reorganized, it's been updated. Now, I'm not sure I like the reorganization. It's a little clunkier in my opinion, but they do have some modified, they modified a couple models. So, like the ringed court sword rapier intrigues me a bit. And what I will do is I will use my custom picture-in-picture, because we're talking about, maybe if I can get the tech to work. Come on. Now, this is an interesting variant. Now, I've never been a fan of floating knuckle dusters. I don't like the knuckle guard to float. I always prefer it to be anchored and looped. That's why mine is. But this facilitates larger hands. And it's interesting because instead of, let me get the relevant part as big as I can make this work. That cross piece with the tight ricasso, that's interesting, because I know the version of Quartz Sword that this was. It was a very light, very fast weapon. This might actually be more agile, and at a $150 price point, having all the parts I look for is not bad. They also came up with a sword. And I do want to comment on this rapier because it is intriguing. That's a fairly nice way to put it. I need to find the what they did basically is make the companion short sword. Now, I do like a 30-inch rapier. Everyone knows I've got one. That's my 34 over there. I don't think, yeah, that's not the one that's over here. But this rigging, that's going to be a little, I don't like it. Now, that looks like it'd be hard to hang on to and easy to get a finger badly caught between the knuckle duster and the grip. It's not, because you have a keyhole here. The keyhole on the vast majority of people, so let me pull mine out. 1 second. Before Thursday, I have to reorganize this whole thing. But we're just going to do that today. Okay. Now, I have to really clean up this guy, so bear with me. And that leather washer finally gave up the ghost. Okay. This gives enough grip for one, or with my damage, I can even get two with thin gloves. Now, I can get away with thinner gloves because I have this distinct bell. But the bell connects. See how it rests on the cross guard? There's a slight dish because my ricasso, which I had to hastily repair and has been repaired, is just about 1 millimeter too short, and it all ratchets in. Now, on something like this, I'm more concerned about the gap between the bell and the ricasso, because when you parry one, you can bind the blade, and that can make a 90-degree bind, which could break a blade depending on angles, and I have to handle it to be sure. The other is it can slide in and ding up this part of your finger. Now, everyone who knows anytime I get near an x-ray, texts start fading because I've had more breaks than anyone needs to know in my hands and arms and everything else from teaching people to sword fight for 20 years. But with the open guard, it's out of the way for the most part on this excessively, but it is a little narrow. But your hand is going to be up of the blade, so it should tentatively be okay. I can't wait till I can get to a situation where I can handle some more of these. And now when I make recommendations, I won't be telling people go get an R whatever. I can say get a Dread Pirate Roberts sword, but you may want to consider a lighter pommel because the way it's rigged, it's going to be just a bit tippy, which could be a good failsafe against a saber. I'm not sure. That being said, it's interesting, and that's what I like. I do like to see adaptation in weapon companies. I want to see them try new things, even if I disagree with it. They're at least trying to stay up and mobile because a lot of people are switching to the plastic because the maintenance is lower. HEMA guys really like it. I will still say that one of the best systems ever made is that Rawlings synthetic sword system. Yeah, I gotta fix this. Okay. No more for a while. I don't want to have to go to the bathroom again. But I'm going to check as I scroll to see if the new Rapier has finally got a picture, because I did say I would check. Nope, the basic Rapier trainer is not up. I'm going to have to, if you guys want, I'll try to message Christian. We'll just try to find out what's going on. But I got to talk about something else. And it's there is I want to check the price. There is a very popular style of 1800s foil target. Now, as we get into what's going to be a second lockdown, guys, if you watch the numbers and you realize that people are meeting up for Thanksgiving when it's unwise in some cases, they're going to skyrocket. It's going to happen. And with the transition of power, a lockdown part 2, I'm not going to say electric boogaloo because I don't want people to get the wrong idea, is unfailingly inbound, which, while it is while it's a negative, it's not something we necessarily want. It's an item that we need to realize is coming, and we have to work around that. It may not be the best, it may not be what some people want, but it's a situation. Now I want to show you something. Oh, God. I don't want to get in trouble with the company, so I will not show you the company's name, but I will show you this. This is a type, I don't know if we can get where you can see it. There you go. This is one of several companies' foil targets. This is an advanced foil target, so you can practice disengages. This is a really neat rig. However, this rig, before shipping, runs $169. So we're going to break it down, okay? And yeah, if you have the money, you want precision, there's nothing wrong with it. You have a moving target and a padded wall target. You can use the ball for point control drills, easy. You can use this round thing for, it's basically a pad, a very nice pillow. It's leather wrapped. It's elegant and refined and, 167, so easily 200 if you're looking at the whole ordering one. Well, I think we could do better. And I believe it so much, I went out in a pandemic and I bought part 1. Now, I will tell you where I got this. I got this from one of the Fencer's favorite supply stores, the Dollar Tree. And it's still packaged, so you get it on. Yeah. CityCap.ball. Whoop. It has a little loop. You tie it to your wrist, and you can practice catching a ball without losing the ball. This was $1. Pre-made, ready to go with this ultra-modern attachment device. There you go. $1. But what about that nice pad? Maybe you want to build a nice little target. Well, how cheaply can I do that? Want to find out? Cool. For this project, we're going to need a few items. And we're going to start off with this. This is the most expensive to acquire unless you know people. This is closed-cell foam. I love this stuff for padding. The library I work at acquired a chunk of plexiglass for something. These are for the feet of our dust guard. So it came. Now, you can get a yoga mat for $10. Or a bedroll, basically the same kind. It's just a little pad that you squeeze, and it's just nice little padding stuff. I got this free, so I'll use this. You'll need a tool, something sharp. Now, I don't know if I'm allowed to condone the use of a knife for tool use on YouTube. So I'm not saying that everyone should wear a neck knife or have another means to an edged weapon. I'm still a big fan of CRKT and would love if they'd like to sponsor a certain swordmaster. But that's okay. No, I'm going to do this live for you guys while we're chatting because it needs done, and I realized why not. Now, the whole effort I'm going through right now is that this was involved in shipping, and this lovely foam, which is the same kind of foam I used to do padding body armor when I want just enough to feel it. See this big, beautiful sheet? Yeah, that's going over there. That already has a purpose. Now, we need something else. We have this, okay? It gets put away, neck knife, it's safe, secure, nobody's being poked. We'll visit this in the moment. We need a backing. Now, they use wood and other, high-quality materials to do that. But for our purposes to support the broke student and swordmaster, I'm using this Anchor Hocking box for the bowls I got my wife for Thanksgiving. And I don't need the whole box, so while I'm here, I'm just going to use my handy-dandy knife and cut a fairly straight. Now, Nick, why aren't you being more elegant about this? Could I? Absolutely. I'm a moderately accomplished leather worker, and I could do one of these things that would, make people weep. But that's not what you need. We don't need high crafts discussion. If we needed that, I'd be having the show guest starring John Miner or someone equivalent. What we need is just a fairly sturdy piece of cardboard. Now, I think I'm breaking every knife rule piece of etiquette I can think of in this. But, okay, we have a piece of cardboard. We have foam. That, if my eyeball is at all good. Oh, look, folks. Folks, you know, people forget just how good I am at what I do when it comes to estimation of size. Now, obviously, you need a fancy, high-end tool to carefully cut this. You know, things like the heat knives or a 29-cent box cutter would work for this whole project if you're one of those people who doesn't have a knife or doesn't want to use a good knife. I believe, however, knives are meant to be used. And as I don't want to use them for their more combative purposes, you know, that would be morally and legally dubious, I'm just going to cut a chunk. And yeah, this is perfect. Oh, this is so difficult. Now, let me get this untaped. That's pretty stout. That's pretty stout. Cool. Now, while we're talking about this, we're going to need two other major ingredients. We're going to need a device to make a permanent loop that will allow you to hang it from a nail head or a command hook or something. Now, for a job like that, I got this guy. And again, I scored a 2-pack. I actually got this for 50 cents on clearance. And what it is just a roll of twisty tie. Now, twisty tie is one of the most versatile things you can acquire. And this normally lives on a hook in my kitchen because that's handy. If you can't afford a twisty tie dispenser like this, most grocery stores have these little pull-offs, and they really won't mind if you take one or two or a stack. Don't take a stack. You might get in trouble, and I don't want you to get in trouble. But these nice guys, mounts on the wall. You figure out the length you're going to need, which we're going to go with about 6 inches. This is probably grotesquely more than we need, but no biggie. Squeeze this little piece. Give me a second to use, you know, my strong hand. Okay, there we go. That. Now, if I were making this a very permanent function device, which I might do as a surprise, and I were doing a plastidip method to make this intense and really high quality, I'd be using a product called Woodweld. Woodweld is a type of glue that I use when I'm making high-end buffers or like prop swords that I want to look a certain way. But we also need to coat it. So what you could do is stretch fabric or leather and tack it around the wood backing. But that is, again, this isn't a video for people who are setting up their Soleil to do high-end work. Now, I want mine to be smaller than most people's, in part because it'll show up on the camera easier, and in part because it will have a little bit more backing. You know, 2 layers are better than 1. So I'm going to use the scientific method of measuring it, called folding it in half, to get a rough estimate of what I need. And that is now cut in half. Now you'll notice this fits nicely here. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? But we might want a little extra strength. If only there were a way. Oh, guys, welcome to the wonderful world of a Tockert kludge. Put the knife back in the neck knife holder so you don't lose it. Okay. To make this a little more sturdy. Well, shoot. Be a shame if because it's corrugated and I cut it. See the lines? The nice thing about corrugated cardboard here is it's very intensely strong on this axis. So trying to squeeze it is surprisingly difficult. But on this axis, if you're folding with the grain, you just put your thumb and there you go. Now, we need to secure this part. And we want it to be strong. and we want it to be fairly permanent and inexpensive. Well, friends, many of you don't know it, but I am a natural born, fairly northern, foresty redneck type. And being that I am both a PBS watcher and I'm a foresty redneck type with facial hair, you know I'm going to reach, and you could use, again, adhesives or wrap leather, but I'm going to reach for the handyman's secret weapon, duct tape. So what we're going to do first is a little bit of artistry. I'm going to put a bit of a group fold here, right? And this isn't quite 90 to quite 45. Let me see how close I can get it. There we go. That's nice, right? That's nice. And I'll just straighten that out. That's just a guide wrinkle for me to hack with my knife. And I'll do the same thing over here. And this is, again, this is just aesthetics, folks. But you just because you're using literal trash bash material doesn't mean you shouldn't have aesthetics. Now, I really hope that Brian K. Morris gets to see this video later, simply because I think he will enjoy the fact that I am doing this live. Because nothing has ever gone wrong with me, tools, and live video. And those of you who know what I'm speaking about know what I'm speaking about. But I have never accidentally cut myself and spent a video quietly bleeding. Thanks for the folks who came back when I had to interrupt that video, by the way. All right, so we have a nice shape like this. Why like this? Yeah, you'll see. Whoop, my sheath work. So while I'm working on this for a second, feel free to comment. I don't know if you guys are enjoying this malarkey or if it's fascinating. Some people never make, build, or improvise anything, and that kind of makes me sad in my heart because, guys, this is like dad ASMR. Oh, because you know something good is going to happen when you hear the sound of duct tape being ripped. Remember, eat popcorn. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying. Good. Remember, duct tape. It turns no into That was a terrible joke, and I should have been ashamed for making it. But it was funny, so I think I can let it go to this time. And we're just going to try to keep it smooth on this side. We want the kind of papery side forward. Because I can tighten the duct tape on the back and have it be as ugly as it needs. No biggie. Now, I'm just smoothing out the wrinkles. Yes! Sydney Cap just put my other favorite duct tape quote. Duct tape is like the Force. It has a light side and dark side, and it holds the universe together. This is, if you give me duct tape, baling wire, twisty ties, and a few other key ingredients, including WD-40, and an adhesive called Fix-All, I can solve between 60 and 90% of the world's problems. Oh, yeah. Right? No, that's not the right way to do it. Right now? Absolutely. It's called the kludge, folks, and I am the reigning king of the kludge. I'm planning to acquire a welder at some point, but that's a next level kludgery, and I have to get some tremors addressed before I feel safe welding. Key toolkit, duct tape, Yes! God, Sydney Kep, you are so my people. All right. Sydney Kep says key toolkit, duct tape, and WD-40. If it moves, should it use duct tape? If it doesn't move and should, use WD-40. That's actually on the wall. My mechanic has that in like a welded flow chart. Oh, I love it. Then you have things like the next level redneckery of JB Weld, being a certain brand of epoxy, two-part epoxy, that basically solves a lot of more advanced problems. But, yeah, I am, apparently, this is not Duck brand duct tape. Oh, wait, maybe. Oh, wait, this is Scott. No, it's not Scott. I wonder what brand duct tape. This is not bad for the cheap stuff. But this is the cheap stuff. I can tell by the feel. Some of the good stuff, actually, I don't like to use. Like the T-Rex tape, it's great stuff. I've held bumpers on with that stuff, like long term, at least over some zip tie stitching. But can't always get to tear. And duct tape has to work, and it has to work right now. So what we've done here, or I will have done because I'm being way too precise on the subject, and I know a lot of it's off camera, but you really don't want to stare at my belly long. Well, maybe you do. Let's bring that down. Okay, make that a little easier for you to see. Bop, bop. And we're just securing the tape, folding the tape, boom. Now, you're saying, Nick, why aren't you putting the tape over the edges? Well, we got to get back to our other side of projects. Now, I told you I'd get back to these guys. We have these guys. Now, I got to chat for a minute because I have this bothersome clear packing tape, which is the antithesis of duct tape. This stuff is, it's annoying because it's not what it should be. Although I've used clear tape for things that they're not supposed to be used for, but it always doesn't peel right. Never been fond of it. But we got this. Boom. We're going to get this tape free. And again, normally, if we were doing this right, instead of right now, we would adhesive this, and fix all this to the wall. But we also have to make a decision, and it's an artistic decision. Do we want this to stay nice and square like this, or do we want the fancy, more rounded look? Now, I'm all about the square. It's simple, it's easy. But for your sake and your sake alone, because, you're just so gosh darn pretty, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to, first, I'm going to be smarter than I'm being. Duct tape works best in layers. It's like an onion or ogres or my emotional trauma. There are layers to it. Yes, there is a guitar propped in the background. It is held together by hot glue. I bought it for $2.50 at a Goodwill. I have to finish tweaking on it. I occasionally dabble. No, I will not play on this channel because I play. Let me put it this way. I play guitar worse than I play tin whistle. And somewhere a bunch of LARPies are holding their ears and running from the mad satyr who they thought was part of the show and truly was not. Okay. Now, Nick, why are you taping these together? Well, I want to stabilize the structure internally just a bit. And I want some guidelines to use for what I'm about to do. I never do anything for just one reason. That's a good way to know if you're supposed to. And again, boom, duct tape. Guys, by the way, be sure to comment if you want more direct, improvised, trash bash gear making for people who have no money. Because I'm happy to do it. I may do a whole video a little more formal than this, semi-scripted and all that happiness. But now, this is a nice little package. It is not perfectly square, but for our purposes, it doesn't have to be. The other thing we can do is take our good friend, Mr. Knife here, and just cut right through. And you'll notice I try to save the foam. You see, I am many, many things. And even before I was a swordsman, I was a model maker, and I made terrain because I loved trains. I loved HO trains. I lusted after N-scale trains because they were roughly micro machine scale. And then I took up and got involved in wargaming and making my own minis, which led eventually to the wonderful games of BSR. Big Stompy Robots, because games should be fun and cheap. It's almost like I have this hang-up about making things fun and cheap. Anyhow, so I can use pieces like this as part of the terrain, and it will give me a reasonable view Now, yes, you should put this on a cutting table and be very safe and cautious. That is the right way to do it. The way I am doing it is the right now way to do it. It's sort of like when some of my female friends couldn't find the right husband, but boy, the pool guy was attractive. He's not the right guy. He's the right now guy. And that's kind of what this is. This is the poor man's pool boy. Although sometimes, every once in a while, you get something a little. You're making foo is cool. Thank you. You get a little tangled, and you go, "Oh wow! I guess that guy was better than I thought." So, what we're going to do now is the first step of many bits of duct tape. In that, I'm just going to finish sealing this little pad up. Now, what is the purpose of this pad? Well, this is going to help protect the wall, the drywall. Stupid hand doesn't want to work. Whatever that it's against. So you can poke it repetitively and not ding holes and things. You can put a little dot on there. And we're going to talk about the, as I eyeball what permanent markers I have handy. Whoops, my tin whistle's down on the floor. Yeah, this is one of my little tin whistles, by the way. I have a low D, but I haven't had the wind for it in some time. I need to get back in shape. It takes a lot of wind to play a low D tin whistle. And I have tiny hobbit hands. But I do love the sound. Anyway, when we mark this, because this is just a design like this, we don't have to do the classic kind of the circle with radians. Now you can, and that's great, but those radians make a lot more sense if you are doing more concussive cuts and you've mounted this. Now, if you take a rig like this and tie or tape or put automotive Velcro and attach it to your punching bag, which is, as I think about it, a really good idea, you're going to have a target that you can move and use your cuts more to advantage on. Now you'll notice I seem to care very much about one side. I'm working very hard to keep one side rather uniform, right? You see this side is uniform. This side looks like absolute squaddle, which if squaddle's not a word, it is now. If Willie Shakespeare can make up words on the fly, Nick Tucker can. Anyhow. That's because that's the side that's going to be facing the cardboard when we're done. And yes, I will go through a vast quantity of duct tape. Fits the pattern for a word. Thank you, Cindy. Now, this is taking me a bit longer than normal, largely because I am narrating, so I can't apply my huge brain power to the silliness of this project. And that's fine. That's fine. You guys don't mind. It's much more companionable, actually. Since you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to put that up because it feels stupid with you guys looking at the line in my face. I think you guys can see the gist of what we're doing here. And the duct tape helps, as Cindy so eloquently put it, it does hold the universe together, light side, dark side, and all. Maybe that's why I don't trust like the T-Rex tape, because it's the dark side of the force. But we're going to do this. This is a nice little target. Now, this is the same basic kind of technique I used to make when I make boffer weapons that are meant to be beat on and thrown away. And I use surprisingly similar motives. This is actually a a stacked foam. So this is actually 4 layers of thinner foam instead of just being 2 layers of thick foam, which is pretty cool too. Now, I'm going to pay extra attention to the edges because, like, a point like that is where it will tear. And I'm not going to show this thing. Yeah, taped to a Wing Chun dummy. That's great, so you don't beat those guys up when you're doing Wing Chun. Great. I actually really liked a buddy of mine used to do Mark Sword Sage. I gotta go by his YouTube handle so people can look him up. If you do go look up Sword Sage, he mostly reviews gin now. He's out west. I think he's in Washington or Oregon. I think he's in Washington, because if you were in Oregon, I would know. There'd be a disturbance in the force. But anyway, there we go. We're just going to round this off a bit. That'll catch the impacts a bit. Now, you can get as masterful as you want with the application of this duct tape. You really can. But basically, I've made this nice duct tape pad. You can use the same method for making armor inserts. I actually use I've used stuff like this inside my obesity armor. It's just camp pad that's been shoved in a pocket. So you can make this, and this will actually absorb, well, let's get some force on this. Might as well test it, right? Well, it holds better than my grip. We'll give it another try. Come here. There we are. Held up to an axe. That's a pretty good test. Okay, that was the ugly side, I think. So, goes here. We throw our bad boy on. How should we do it? Oh, that's a good point. While we're here, just for the pure, beautiful aesthetics, let's kind of corner off these corners. And again, I'm using, as you can see, highly advanced technology, detailed precision measurements to just totally not eyeball from years of doing things like this. And there we go, close enough for government work. Haha. Boom. Now, well, that'll do. It doesn't overtime. So, I mean, you guys know what's coming next. Honestly, duct tape is probably the most expensive part of this because I use a lot. You don't have to. You don't have to. I like duct tape, and I take comfort in its application. Boom. Boom. We'll just we got a wrap there. Cool. So I'm going to wrap this a couple more times. I'm going to put a couple holes through here. We'll attach the wire, and then it's pretty much good to be hung up on the wall. But we're going to talk a little bit about what I'm going to do before then. Because I said I've been putting off doing this video for some time because I wanted to do it right, and I wanted to make it look fancy. And then I realized, guys, if you want fancy, you're going to throw $100, $200 at companies that I won't name to have fancy. And there's nothing wrong with that. If I were running a, $100 an hour training salon that I've heard of people doing it. There are a couple people who are even entitled. It's going to do that thing where it tries to put a wrinkle right in the middle of the front of the face. Because duct tape, while I love it, it does not always love me. We have a semi-abusive relationship where it tries to drive me completely bat poop crazy. But the foolish stuff doesn't know I'm already bat poop crazy. So I am immune to its cunning wiles. Don't like that. Don't like that at all. I realized I made this part a little long with sticking out the bottom. That aesthetically bothers me. Now, again, I could have used a high-end technique like, I don't know, measuring all my parts. But that doesn't fit the spirit of this particular project. So we're just going to improvise, adapt, overcome. I was once asked a philosophical question. It was a beautiful philosophical question. It was by my younger brother. I have two brothers, and the younger of the two had taken a philosophy course in college, which I have taken many of. And he asked me, Nick, would you give up all your worldly possessions and live in a little apartment or a little tiny house to know that everyone else had a home? And I said, yeah. I didn't even hesitate. And he looked at me funny. He said, you'd give up all your swords, everything you prize, all your worldly possessions to do that? And I said, yeah. And he's like, well, what about all your swords and stuff? I said, let me explain something to you. One, the world would be a better place if nobody were homeless. My comfort, if it were 100% guaranteed, which is the point of this delightful little mental exercise, I don't want to do that way. Haha. My comfort would be readily suspendable. But, I said it, I smiled, you do know the next day I'd be out either on foot or in a vehicle, if I still had my vehicle, seeking other people, looking at the garbages and the discards and fallen branches to start getting sticks and start building SSOs. I'd start over because given nothing, I can rebuild because that's what we do. Now, what we have here is a nice base. It's not pretty on the back, but guess what? Nobody's going to see the back. It needs two factors. First, did we get a comment? Let me check. I think I got a comment on my messenger, which normally people who know me through Facebook are more than welcome to message me related to this. If you message me anything else, I will ignore you and chastise you. But we want two holes because we want to be able to adjust it so it's fairly level. And again, you could use a drill, you could use any sharp object to get your holes started. I'm just happening to be using a Cricut Minimalist Bowie point with that used to have gears, but I have worn them off. I do need to write that company. I do love this weapon tool, whatever you want to call it. Handy dandy. Now I need a pen of suitable gauge, which, well, I don't need it, but in the spirit of doing things semi-right, let me put that through. There we go. And all I'm doing, there we go, is making a nice big hole. This hole, which is the grip diameter of a Papermate Flare medium black pen, which is my all-time favorite drawing pen right here. I love these guys. They're, pretty common, but my favorite drawing pen. Gives you a hole big enough that I could put paracord through if I were doing a version of this that was wood and leather and more detailed. What I'm going to put through is this. And we're just going to feed it through there, feed it through there, come up, twisty tie one side, come around. And we don't want a lot of twists because we want to keep a pretty stout loop. And now, boom, this can hang on any nail protrusion and you have a target. But friends, we're not going to stop there. Did you think I was going to stop there? Nah, we're not going to stop there. Let's dig into the what Sharpies do I have handy game. Because we're going to need some color. And in this case, we're not actually using Sharpie brand Sharpies, which is a little silly. We're using Bic Markets. And I need some color to this. Well, here. Actually, no. Which one is this? This is the Pen Gear Fine Tip. Yes. This is the 2 for 98-cent bootleg Sharpie at Wally Mart. And we probably, now see, this would be done. If you want to go farther, which I'm going to, I need a straight edge. We'll use knifey. The back of knifey is straight enough for our purposes. And again, it doesn't need to be perfect. Perfection is overrated. Functionality in the face of poverty is everything. This material will be repeated throughout the course of this video. Now, all I'm doing is eyeballing the middle. Whoop, crosswise lines to make the spokes. Boop. Now, we'll just put a dot. Look at that. Just that easy. But wait, there's more. Because I'm going to come here and move some weapons. There's a red. There's a brown. It's not the color I want to find. I think that's a green. Well, we'll see what color this is. As long as they're radically different. Blue. We got some markers. I want one more bright-ish color. I got to have one more bright-ish color than here. Is that purple? No, that's not purple. One more brightish color. Where are see my marker pile fell over 3 seconds before the video was to start, which is normal. There's purple. Okay, we got colors now. Colors are always good. And we're going to do this. And I'm going to make it a little prettier than it needs to be. And obviously I'm using more interesting colors. Wow. Okay. We may have two purples going here. Ha ha, we do. I'll fix that in a second. Anyway. Ooh. This is not going to be perfect, but then again, it doesn't need to be. This is just to give you ideas. Rotate your ideas. Run with them. Have fun with them. Don't be afraid to try stuff, especially on a device like what we're building. Okay. Now we have a really advanced targeting system in that we've got pink, purple, green, and blue plus black. So what you can do is have somebody randomly call out the colors and you can target them to mix it up. You can even record yourself on your phone, just randomly rattle off a bunch of those, and it will give you targets that are changing. So if you hang this, now this you might need a support, but really, oh no, I literally forgot to plan a support. What am I gonna do? Where's the rest of my cardboard box? It ran away. You hang this off of any support. If you want, here, look. Oh no, send me $200. No, come on. You can hang this. You can use this as a point control ball. You can use this as a parry device. You set it swinging and you practice disengaging around it and going for the targets. It took me talking through, we'll say 45 minutes, maybe. And that's because I was talking through. Now John Miner says we've pulled ourselves out of the dregs many times over. Absolutely. And, fires happen, home losses happen, deaths happen, injury happens. Here's the thing. I earned that. 2020 either happens to you or you happen to 2020. And what I mean by that, no, don't do that. Thank you. Is wow, we don't need that picture showing anymore. we 2020 happens, and I don't want it to do it. I'm going to do things to 2020. This is why I'm not in a rush to end it. Like, no, I got another month. I want to get some more business in. I want to throw an elbow before I go out of this crazy year. And the way you do that is by improvising defiant bits of logic like this. This goofy little project that talking through took me 45 minutes. If I were working on it steadily, I could get down to 10 probably, but just knocking something like this out. It costs you nothing. You can use it, you can abuse it, and when it's done, you could throw it away or you can strip it for parts. It's just that easy, guys. Because if there's one thing I will preach till the day I die, what we do doesn't need to be difficult. It doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be hard. I'm going to take a moment because I'm at the hour mark, almost exactly. And I'm going to say I want to thank my patron, Cindy Cap, because she is here. Well, the talented Brian K. Morris, who runs Rising Tide Publishing, and the Nevermind the Furthermore show, and Clever Title Pending, and he's just built a community of pure awesomeness. And as always, Steve Agosto, who helped me really, he was my first patron, and even though he's going through a lot, he's held on to that, and I respect that, A buck from somebody who has 200 is different than a buck from somebody who has 20, if that makes any sense. And he's literally a blessing because he's doing what he can with what he has. And Cindy Kemp's amazing. I've never had anybody work so hard on my behalf. I'd get misty-eyed if I weren't so caffeinated right now. But thank you. I want to thank John Miner because he's an old friend and he's a supporter and he helps keep the Lights channel through non-Patreon channels. And I want to thank Steve Clausen, who not only is a supporter, but he and I are going to probably be making some announcements in the next, probably 2021, maybe later, that relate to this channel. And I'm excited about that. So that's all coming. I just hope you guys stick around. So, as a brief recap for anybody who didn't come in at the beginning, I watched the most recent Mandalorian episode. You should too. I give the parts that are relevant to me on initial viewing a B-. Understanding that I tend to despise Star Wars choreography. Even though I've done some of it, and at one point I had planned to get involved with some people to enter the Star Wars choreography lightsaber choreography contest, which I may do someday. I mean, I don't expect to win, but I may enter it anyway if I get the right people. We did that. We discussed Zen Warrior Armory renaming their weapons just blows my mind. It really does. And I want to talk to you guys. I want to talk to you guys about a pet project of mine before I get rolling. There is a YouTube group. It's called Saint, and the Saint part, ST, period, is in parentheses, Nick's Creators Christmas Mall. The idea of the Creators Christmas Mall is that I want small creators, small publishers, small writers, businessmen, Etsy folk to have a place where they can plug their stuff and people can come see it, and to encourage people who are small business folks like you and many of like me and like Cindy Cap and those who are, we're doing it ourselves, to purchase from other small business folks. Now, tomorrow is technically Small Business Saturday, apparently. But for me, Small Business Saturday is every day. Because, when you buy something at Walmart, you got rung up and the guy the cashier rings you up and, okay, you've bought something at Walmart. Nothing wrong with that. We all do. But if you can buy something from a small business person, they do a jig. Maybe it's inside, maybe it's out. I do the Fat Guy Happy Dance. Every time I make a sale, I get on Amazon, I'm like, oh, I got $2 on Amazon. I hit my Patreon, the monthly you got mail from Patreon. I'm like, why, yes, Patreon. Thank you. Fat Guy Happy Dance. I think the world needs more people doing happy dances. So think about putting your business directly to small businesses. And that's, the more you know. All right, folks. So stepping back from that, I am definitely going to need feedback on the first half of this episode, especially from Cindy Kep, John Miner. The people who weighed in always have the most. My patrons, guys, my patrons say, Nick, I want you to do something. If it's in my power, I do it. There's no arguing. That's because they had sweat in the game and they deserve to get something out of it. I don't do a lot of secret, just Patreon stuff, because part of my shtick is not having paywalls, is putting out free for everybody. And if you want to do something back to help me do this, I am eternally grateful, and that goes. So what they get is, when I'm doing a big preview, I'm going to give them at least a week early, if at all possible. So if I were going to do more videos like this and not have them on a live feed, but actually just film them more traditionally, the Patreon members will get a secret link to them to see it before it goes public. That's things like my paranormal supernatural defense line and other silly videos like that, fun things, requests. You ain't never had a friend like me, but I don't want to get sued, so I gotta be careful. Safety dance. You just say safety dance. Are you asking me to do the safety dance? Are you asking me to sing a copyright material that I'll get in trouble for? I mean, arrangements can be made, John. We go way back, and that would probably make Julie happy, but I don't have any dwarves available. The last dwarf I know set me on fire. Wow. Well, no, not the last dwarf. The dwarf I knew is somebody else entirely. The second to last set me on fire. I travel in odd circles. But, you can fight if you want to. You can leave your friends behind, and if by chance your friends don't fight, they're no friends of mine. No, you can water dance if you want to. Yeah, just get my man. What do we say to death? F you, it's 2020. That's right, preach. I might be doing something else with this particular thing, because I bought it to show you, but I don't usually. Well, no, you know what? I have things like this, and I like these because the elasticized string means when you poke them, it changes its bounce back course. A solid string is going to be a solid travel, much more predictable. And if you're using a bouncy target, let's have that target be as unpredictable as possible. Does it make it harder? Yes, that's the point. The point in point control drills. But, chicken butt. I have a lot more of this foam sitting around that I didn't use for this. So I might just make some more stuff, and I might make stuff live. We might do some buffer making. The idea is I want you guys to understand. I keep my book as cheap as Amazon will let me. Now, because I used color in some of my diagrams, I have to charge for the simple sword like it's a full color page book. So it's more expensive than I would like. And I don't get much more out of it because I keep my end as low as they will let me. Ditto with my digital. But it is, if you have Kindle Unlimited, it should still be free because I'm trying to keep it free to read throughout the pandemic because I want to give people a chance to get started and get better. And then if they want to buy the book later, please do. If they want to throw money my way, please do. It's appreciated. But I don't, oh, God, I don't want it to be difficult. So there's that. Let me go to the phones for a second. I actually have a series of messages, and that's not fun. Oh, Ultra Sabers has, for people who are looking for the combat lightsabers, is running a 15% off any custom rig. So if you're into the lightsaber side of combat, that's a pretty good deal. And I just got notification for that on this video. I also want to put out a shout out to Lacey Lemke. She's doing some great stuff, and I'm proud of her. And because I can, I will. Let's see. Wow, guys. We are gearing up for the cool weather training and crafting time. And I know I seem really kind of buzzed. I'm buzzed because this is Thanksgiving. This is, Friday of Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is a huge deal with my family and with me. Not just I'm a fat guy who loves food. I do not deny this, especially with the way my wife cooks. But also, I have always believed that gratitude and appreciation is huge and necessary. And I am so thankful that I can get on this every week and go, here, I'm going to babble at you, and I might make you smile. And that's great that I have a platform to help build people up and educate and kind of, I got a mission, folks. And it crosses over a lot of things. It's, my when I'm teaching, when I'm training people like this, when I'm designing games, when I'm writing books, whatever, I want happiness through accessibility. I am at war with the gatekeepers. And, running with John Miner, Gates and us don't last very long. The people I run with have this bad habit of busting through gates when nobody's looking, and sometimes right in their face. So I just want to thank you guys, seriously. And again, this is a big shout out to my regulars, obviously Cindy Kep and John Miner and Steve Clausen, Steph Marie, a lot, the folks who are here, and I also want to take a moment. I want to thank, there's some people who you don't see often anymore because of the danger virus, but people like Trelena, I'm not going to drop her, Bachman, yeah, I'll drop her last name. Trelena Bachman is one of my best friends, and she stood by me in a time when almost everybody else walked, and I didn't expect her to. And I'm thankful that she's been my friend this whole time. Thankful for folks like James Robertson. Jim, you guys have seen him on the videos. Talented swordsman, just stout, good guy. Al and Sword Sage and the lot of folks you've seen on these videos, even Lundy for his time. I'm appreciative of them. Everybody who's let me be of help to them. Yeah, just a road bump. Yep. And that's kind of my approach to 2020, guys. I'm being very careful about the virus because of my conditions. I can't get that. Okay, I cannot get the danger bug. It might be a case of getting it again. Some people have suspicions, but I definitely can't get it with how I am. So I have to be careful. But at the same time, I'm at war with despair. And that, that's one of my great enemies. We don't need grimdark. We don't need reality. We don't need depression. We don't need that overarching doom. I got enough of that. So I'm going to keep here being a caffeinated goofball. And I'm going to try, selling my books is great because that sets up a legacy for Xander. And that's what that's about. But, and affording to be able to keep, what are you trying to do? Need enough money to be able to buy duct tape so I can make, targets like this out of next to nothing. So I can show you so you don't have to spend money. And so that I have a whole box of trainers that were left over by mostly by Steve Clausen, some by Jim Roberts, and that I can review. Take the money, I buy a trainer, I beat the tar out of it, sometimes for 10 years. And then I say, this is a good trainer, this is a bad trainer. So that you don't get ripped off, so you don't have to spend money on things that aren't effective. And that's what that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to fix to provide information without bias or profitability or lust. It's money crazy. I'm not going to do that. So, as winter roots, guys, this is a good time to start drilling. Get yourself an SSO of some kind. Set yourself up a goofy target. It doesn't even have to be this ornate. Prop up a throw pillow, especially the kind with the big buttons. Just practice slowly poking that. Just over and over. You want to achieve piston-like consistency. You do it. That's how I got good, was just by throwing a lot slow, meticulous, controlled shots. Learn your range, get your point control, master your calibration, work on that. Work on your footwork. And I'm going to probably next week I'm going to I might talk about Spanish footwork. That might be my big talk. I'll bring over the Destreza projects, the circle and the cross, which is a great set of footwork drills. Give you some talk about how to lay out your personal Spanish magic circle kind of thing. I think that there might be interest in that. And that's one of those that's really good, because what we want to do is we want to put the building blocks in place in our home or garage or whatever now, so that as it gets colder and it's less easy, it's less, to get out and fight, because we don't want to. It's cold. You don't want to drill, you don't want to work, you don't want to try and get in shape. Put the tools in place where all you have to do is walk out, do it for 15, 20 minutes, Put on a podcast, put on a show. I can recommend a lot of them. I'm a big fan of YouTube as a primary entertainment source. And it's a good educational source. And, just knock it out so that come spring, look, there's a good chance by March the vaccine will be widely available, and that seems like a long time. But if we look at it like an opportunity, it's something coming, and we prepare positively for it. When we can see our loved ones, when we can see groups, when we can go to our SCA or HEMA or AmpGuard or Dago here, or just a collegiate fencing match, or just beating up in the backyard, when I can say, I'm running cameras out back, there are bouts, people are doing stuff. Then, my good and noble friends, we will be able to not just be like, oh, I gotta get in shape. No, be like, I trained during the dark hours. I want to be, 2 years ago when I went out to vote, there were tanks in the street. And there was some talk of, without getting into the politics, I was highly unlikely for my vote to affect anything. But it's going to affect me. And I'm going to be able to say when I'm 50, which is in 10 years, good God, I'm getting old, 60, until the day I die, I'll say, I went out and voted when there were tanks in the streets. either this whole situation is going to define us, or we're going to reach out and say, no, I'm defining you. I'm defining 2020 as the year that I partnered with Luke Stone to get the contract to do the Hybrids RPG. I'm defining 2020 as the year that, Cindy Kep and Brian K. Morris became my patrons. That I traveled cybernetically through the circles of Rising Tide Publishing and met amazing people. That that I got online and I'm like, here, this is how to make a version of a nearly $200 training system for like $1 in trash. Literally. It's that easy, folks. And that's what I want. I don't, okay, we're approaching another lockdown. Okay, it's a winter lockdown. We knew this was coming. We can mourn it. We can beat our chests. And there's going to be part of that. Everybody's going to feel the anxiety and the sorrow and the nuttiness. But we also could be like, dude, if I'm not working, I'm working. So this is the time for people like John. Gonna bust you out, John. The amazing John Miner knows more about metalworking than I do, than a lot of people do. I've seen him make armor out of, let's just say, part of my mentality came from running with him in a group of blessed lunatics that used to exist. But and while that group is gone and some of them have left us, the spirit of that insane improvisational group, what? That's a used street sign? I'll take that, and cranking out armor is ingrained in me. John, write what you know down. I know you write technical briefings and manuals all day, and that sucks. But you have a talent, and the arts have given to you, Sir John. This is how you give back. This is the high level. Believe it or not, whether you are recognized, you or may not be recognized. Let me put it this way: you aren't recognized as a peer of the realm, but you, sir, are a peer of the art, and that comes with a kind of pain in the butt obligation to make the art better and accessible. So write it. You know what? When all's said and done, I hope Cindy Kep writes something instructional from what she's learned from all this. I would love to read her take on maybe an autobiographical journey into being a modern swordswoman. Because I'm going to tell you, especially the ladies, I'll be honest, I love female students, and not for the pervy reasons that people would love to claim, because people suck. I love female students because very often I don't have to deal with machismo. Building people up is naturally easier than working to assert enough dominance to get through the like, some guys, and every guy gets that way. They grow the goat horns and they want to show off. Oh yeah, you write teacher resources. I know that, Cindy. But I'm thinking something perhaps more personal about what either about writing fiction, because you are a staggeringly prolific writer, or your journey into living the fantasy, because there's so many people who read about swordsmen and women, and they read and they never get to handle it. They never get to put anything like a foil. Never hits most people's hands, and because of the circles I travel in, I forget that sometimes. And a lot of that's because people believe that it's inaccessible, that it can't be done unless you're rich or you're healthy or you're a white male over the height of 6 foot. And I've literally heard this stuff. And especially for female martial artists, there needs to be, for everyone, examples. And that's important, guys. I'm not out here self-aggrandizing, because I myself am not that good. Got physical limitations. I understand that. I accept that. I combat them ruthlessly, but I don't self-delude. But I also have some really sharp mental stuff going on. And I use that to further my agenda. And my agenda is that people who are allowed to know their own strength live fuller lives. And this isn't about taking away choice. A lot of people believe to be powerful you have to do X, Y, or Z, and I don't believe that. I believe what you need to find, and I don't care who you are or what you are, find a passion, or many, like in my case, I collect skills and things. I tell people I'm both a nerd and a geek, in that I am a geek who collects nerdy skills. I just wanted to be, I played D&D and I thought, now that magic stuff, I can't, but that skill stuff, I could do that. I could be that. I can swash a buckle. I can swash a buckler. I've done it. I can pick locks. Not for nefarious reasons, but for the challenge of the puzzle. And because I've locked myself out a lot. But, I've collected survival skills. In part because they're useful to have. Having multiple ways to make a fire. Understanding that this much metal can save my life in far more ways than just poking it at somebody. I collect those skills. And then what I do, because it's not locked away like this is my secret. No, I collect knowledge, that I disseminate it like a lunatic. Because I had this crazy idea, says the guy waving a fake butcher knife around, that everybody should have the right to know stuff. And speaking on some of this, I have an announcement that I almost forgot to make. Thursday night, I will be on Joe Dog McKeel's Stupid O'Clock from, I think it'll be 9 my time to 11 my time, roughly. That's 8 to 10 Central. And I don't know what we're talking about. He asked, he's like, I saw you on Clever Title Pending. Would you like to come on? And I'm like, sure. Hook me up. Because I believe in my message. My message is you, the person watching this. Guys, to let you in on the secret. You can do stuff. You can affect a change. We are taught that we are powerless unless we're wealthy or strong or famous. That the best we can do is go to work a job, whatever job it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. Come home, watch TV, eat whatever we eat, maybe make babies and go to bed. You're not NPCs. You watching this video right now are not just a player character. You are the main protagonist in your own life. You are a protagonist. You are a main character. You are the force that drives your story. And that's important. And you're important. I have never met somebody who wasn't important. Me and the doctor, but you know what? I usually agree with the doctor on most things. We can build things up. So find your passion and do it. But if you know about stuff, if you found something that has given to you I love tabletop gaming. I love BattleTech. I love a game called Cav that few people play, but oh god, it actually got ripped off. We'll talk about that. That's for a different channel. Enough. I made proxies. I made these guys. Made these guys for big snappy robots. These are pretty units that I want that can field without heavy construction. I can crank out these guys, and yeah, you can find this on my. It's buried in the scraps on the Nick T, the deviantart.com/Nick T page, so people could run off minis so they could play, whether they could afford the minis or not. Because I wanted to give back to the system that brought me joy. And then I made big stumpy robots. I trained with people like John Miner. I trained with people like Dennis Yakus, Aidan McDougall, who we had our differences, but I learned so much. I still respect him. And I've forgotten people's handles. It's been so long. Anyway, a few others that I won't name because I'm still kind of radioactive in certain circles. There are certain circles that don't want me around because I do this. I go, here's the secrets. I want you to be better. And there are certain people that upsets the status quo. And I'm okay with that. That's why I wrote this. The Simple Sword. Because it shouldn't be hidden behind complex paywalls and secrets and, oh, you have to join our organization, but you can't teach what you learn. Oh, go. FFS. Guys, if you have a knowledge, share it. If you're seeking a knowledge, look for the people who do. Blessed is the internet, giver of ideas. We're in a new era. And I've had the privilege of watching the information age overtake the industrial age. I watched it hit. I grew up in that. This is exciting. The meatball. I love the meatball. I love both meatballs, okay? I love the meatball and the extra garlic meatball. You know who I mean, just saying that. I was talking to the garlic meatball. Yeah, I got some great Jason Leto. Man, he doesn't show up on the channel much because of his job and his circles. Man, he's a good guy. Frank Lesko's a great guy. These are people who have done stuff with me, but they didn't want to be on camera. And I respect that, but it saddens me because they don't get to see how cool they are, and you don't get to see how cool they are. But, yeah, there's... I know I'm waxing philosophical. I'm a little different this week than I usually am. And that's because it is a holiday, and I take Thanksgiving very seriously because gratitude is the difference from enduring the suck and embracing the suck. Which, I'm not being perverse here. I mean, when things are unpleasant, you can either endure, oh God, like, okay, this sucks. But that's the difference. But, ... If you say, this sucks, and stop right there, you've let go of any power. As soon as I say, it sucks, but I'm going to do something about it, or I'm going to do something with it, or I'm going to do something in spite of the suck. We have to build each other up, and we have to build each other up in defiance of entropy, in defiance of the chaos and the stress and everything that gets pounded at us. That's just fuel, guys. That's energy. And you can't destroy it, so you might as well convert it, Kind of call it the spite engine, Sometimes you just need that to realize that opposition is fueling your advancement, and eat it. You just learn to eat off of it, because it takes their power away. And there'll always be a them. There'll always be somebody out there who wants to mess with you or ruin your day. And there'll always be people who say that you can't do it because they can't. Ooh. Cindy kept reply, book I could write about the things I know. Have a weird idea. I'll have to bounce off of you later. Absolutely. You know I love a good weird idea, Cindy kept. Oh, I didn't ask you a valuable question, or if I did, it fell out due to my minor brain damage. We're not going to worry about brain damage right now. That's later. That's next month. Next month, I'll worry about the brain damage. But City Cap, what would be your chosen race and class in an RPG setting that you felt most reflects you? I need to know that. So you can respond here. You can sit on it and bounce back later. I have some ideas if you can't come up with anything, but you are a brilliant author type, so I know you can. So hit me with that good sweet bean, roll that beautiful bean footage. I'm in a mood. And let me know. And while I'm giving you guys assignments, especially the people who watch later, tell me what you're thankful for. We could all use that. I didn't play the same. Elf Ranger? Elf Ranger can happen. Elf Ranger can certainly happen. Just make sure it feels right, because it's got to feel right. I got stuff. Good stuff is coming. Well, you could probably extrapolate, because I asked, it's really easy. I asked Brian K. Morris, and because I know he's watching Uncle Carl's whatever show and ignoring me, which is fine. He always watches this in a rerun. I made him this. He mentioned a half-orc bard, so I made him a full custom character that I'm doing for my patrons. And you get to hear about it early because you're always here. And I just think I found my backup stack of my drawing paper, because I want yours to be right. So I'm going to be putting these up. Elf Ranger. I will run with that. Thank you, Cindy. Actually, where is my sticky note? Sticky note. Let me see. Do I have budget fencing Con? Steve Prime. Oh, I have to finish that. Oh, yeah. See, guys. Remember the sticky note? Trash bat, but bunch of chaining gear. That's what I was doing. That's what this is, the sticky note for this video. I do check my sticky notes. But I've done it, so it goes in the trash. Yay! My memory is a steel trap. Unfortunately, it's all rusted shut. So stuff leaks all over. But Cindy, I'm going to have fun with this, because you are such an elf. And you know what? So many of my favorite people are either of Fae biology or literally may just be Fae. It's interesting. Oh, I know you're a Scottish paladin. Paladin, John. Okay. That's good to know, because I was going to hit you up on that. And I love how I ask what race and you say Scottish. I'm going to have fun with this. I've got some ideas. But it goes on my windowsill of knowledge. Wheel of morality. Turn, turn, turn. What is the lesson we should learn? That Istanbul is not Constantinople. Okay. But yes, so where was I before I went on this building people up rant? Oh, 4 viewers, 2 likes. Guys, don't be afraid of that like button. It's more scared of you than you are of it. And that cost me a viewer. One guy! Wounded. Shot through the heart. Okay. And some food shenanigans. And some food allergies shenanigans backed off. I went from 60 plus allergies or 35 or so, losing the one that caused anaphylaxis. Awesome! Holy smokes, Cindy, that's huge! Bravo freaking oh. And John's been knighted. That's why I said Sir John. I know a lot of people who play at nights, but I don't care how big your LARP is. Being knighted in a real international organization, fraternal and semi-secret or not, trumps, in my mind, I said Trump, trumps being, playing it on the weekends. I said it. And I respect you, and I'm glad someone appreciates your service to your fellow man. There are a few people out there, John, and the neat thing is every time you get an award, you get elevated, you rise to transcend your place. So I know you're going to be doing great things in the very near future. And that makes me happy. And that's what I want to see. I'm thankful for that. Let's see. I told you guys about the whole Luke Stone thing, and that I'm thankful to have survived. I'm thankful that I'm still a librarian, and I don't have to work in this when it's not safe. I am thankful that so many people I know are still here. A lot of near misses. 2020's been click banging at some folks I love. But yeah, I'm thankful that at least, I look at it from, I got one more week, one more day. I wake up in the morning, I got a chance to love my son, love my wife, try to help people. I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. Heck, I don't know if when I get up from this chair, if my legs aren't going to just drop out and splat me on the floor like a, beached manatee. The Nevermorians among us know that reference. But, so we are blessed, guys. And we can't let the naysayers and the doom crowd tell us we aren't. There's nothing wrong with being scientific and respectful and careful in a time of pandemic. There's nothing wrong with watching the political and historical outcomes of certain things and being uneasy about that. That's called being aware. But you can never allow the people who manufacture despair to hold you back, to actually hold you back. We got to rise above it. And the best way to rise above it is by boosting each other up. The more we do that, the better it is for every man, woman, and child. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I'm happy for you, John. That's huge. And Cindy, gosh, Mandy has food allergies. I have some other issues. The thought of something like that, going down, especially the concern, because I know how hard it is to go out to eat when allergies are involved and things. So that's straight up blessing. That's great. So yeah, you guys, if you watch this in the rerun, comment your good stuff. And speaking of good stuff, like I said, I've got some stuff coming from our friends at Swaghammer Metals that, as depending on what they are, will depend if I can plug them here or not. If not, I will just plug something else the wonderful John Miners made possible. And because that's what I am. That's who I am. Like I could no more stop, building people up than I could stop breathing. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm feeling philosophical, and it's my show. I can do that. It takes strength to remain soft. We live in an era where everybody's like, hard bodies, get strong, get tough. And that's in some cases attractive, I guess. But what impresses me is the people who, despite enduring pain or suffering or misery or injury, can remain caring, that can reach out, wear their heart on the sleeve, even though that heart's been ventilated, burnt, slashed, and is a kind of nub of a char of a thing. It's still out there trying to do what they can for who they can. And I know a lot of people like that. I've been blessed. And the only reason I can think is I sometimes put some of that energy out myself. I try to. I fail. Lord knows I fail, but I try. And that's important. Don't let it take you. So we got about 15 minutes left. I am, actually, I need to write that down before I forget, because that's where John's going with that. John says, when you see it, you will understand. In all honesty, you could have mailed me a sticky note that said, hey, Nick, have a nice day. It'd still make my week. Because somebody thinking enough to do something for me is it's beautiful and it's touching. And that you've been so generous and kind, you've always been a good guy to me, John. But Fallout Shelter. Sorry. Memory. John is an avid DM, much like me, and he prefers old school game systems, much like me. And he has a dungeon that is legendary, and in a legendary format, affectionately known as the Fallout Shelter. And I'm having flashbacks, but well, John, you are on the wall of knowledge. So I have one more undone to do. So sometime this weekend we'll chalk that up. And I'm hoping if I can get a table cleared off and get some stuff set up to do another stop motion video, because I haven't done those in a long time. And that has nothing to do with this channel, but it is what I'm up to. This is an interesting time, folks, and especially for you guys looking for your gear, please, when you're done here, cruise Amazon, cruise the sites, look for the Black Friday sales. I've given you guys a list before: the Cold Steel Trench Hawk Trainer, the Cold Steel Parry Dagger, the Cold Steel Buckler. There's the synthetic buckler. Are all things anybody doing what we do should own, and they're all around the $20 or less line usually. Those there are a lot of figure out what look around. This is an opportunity, and take the time. The other thing is snow poles are on sale usually right about this time of year, because people like to mark where their driveways are, and they make wonderful cores, either for foam core weapons, for pasta dip style weaponry, which once it's over freezing, I think I might get back into as I get my garage back. That's part of my my in the works. I want to do some at least low level blade making. I still want to forge a Dusek just because that's sort of on my bucket list, and I admire the logic of a plebeian, a poor person's sword. I find that fascinating, because for so long historically, the ownership of a sword was a sign of wealth and nobility. They were expensive and exclusive. And anything that violates that concept is right up my alley. But so that's coming. I'm on sort of a push for the RPG thing, but I'm still tinkering with the axe. And I might just put a version of that up for my Patreon members. I may put an early preview of where I am and what I'm working on in the near future for my Patreon members, if you guys are interested. So Cindy Cap, Steve Augusto, Brian K. Morris, let me know. And I'll, if you're interested, I'll throw a version of that file up for you guys just to look at. That way, as I update it, I can just update the file you guys see. Maybe make that just entertaining. Knowing stuff is cool. Yeah, knowing stuff is very cool. And if that's what, so I'll see about doing that. We guys, I know this. It's not the energy level is a little different today. I had a lot of physical crafting, and making things makes me feel better. It makes me feel like me. This is John can tell you especially. This is an incredibly Nick thing to do, and I like little imperfect, useful things because they reflect how I see myself. And that might be narcissistic, but it's like, look, it's useful. It's useful trash. But but that's what I'm about. And I enjoy the unexpected buildup that makes people that takes the logic of this will do the same thing at least for a while as a $200 training system. And yes, you need a support. You need some kind of hangout like a shelf bracket. If you want this out in front, you can buy a shelf bracket for $1. Little L iron and just screw it to your wall. Then you know what? The bottom screw, hang this, you're good to go. You can make one out of wood lath. I love wood lath. It's like 25 cents a piece for a 3 foot by 1 inch, or like 1.25 inches, I think, chunk of wood. And you can just build crud with them. Oh, great stuff. I make sword trainers when I want to make really inexpensive ones. Would you guys like to see that? Would you like to see me do a video on the actual making of one of those? I could. That one will probably require power tools, but you may have an audio warning, or I'll do it as a video format. You let me know. I want to service. Wow, that sounds bad. I want to service the community. But somewhere there's a lady by the name of Sarah yelling, "Drink!" and she doesn't know why. Old guy with long hair says, "I know stuff." John, the only way you know more stuff is if you were in Saigon. But no, you know stuff, and I respect what you know. I just say the knowledge needs to be more immortal than you are. The work we do is more important than the workers. And that's part of why I made sure my book went out. I've had a couple health things. Sometimes I talk about them, sometimes I don't. But the phrase near miss and you like things that make your doctors go, huh? Uh-oh. Yeah. So there's a necessity, a responsibility to what we do, to preserve that. And what I do is I build people up, and I just pray that the people I work with do the same, and a lot of them do. I know, like, in whatever she does, Trelena is going to build people up. John's been building people up since before I was alive. Cindy Kemp, good Lord, does that woman build people up. I've had never, she plugs me more than Brian K. Morris, and that's saying something. And Brian K. Morris is just, I mean, his company is Rising Tide. Literally, it's called Rising Tide, short for a Rising Tide Lifts All Boats. How much more awesome can you get? I can't. I don't know. But that kind of service is getting less rare. And there's something, we're getting toward the end of it, but there's a saying that good times build soft men, good times build weak men build bad times build strong men. and strong men build good times. And that strength isn't like the physical, okay, I can bench press. No, it's the getting up at 4 a.m. to do a job you hate to provide for your family. It's the, walking through fire because that's what needs to be done, literally or figuratively. And when I say men, I mean that in the mankind mindset. To this day, my mother is one of the toughest women I've ever met and one of the toughest people I've ever met. She can work circles around anyone, even now. And I cannot abide useless people. It's funny. Everybody has something they do. They should do it. And if you want part of that to be sword fighting, folks, well, you're in the right place. So, hit the like, hit the share, let folks know what I'm doing, what we're doing, what you're doing. If you want to help, because we are in the last 5 minutes of this video, get on the line, subscribe so that you can catch all the goodies we do here, and share it. If you really want to help, $1 a month through the Patreon link that'll be at the bottom of this once I've got it processed. It's the Historical Fencing Guild. Same boot logo as is on the channel. Anything you could do to help. If you just want to support other ways, there are other ways. But more importantly than all that, more importantly than even going to Nick Tucker, going to Amazon.com/author/Nicholas Tucker and reading Simple Sword, which you can do for free. More important than that, build yourself up, okay? Build other people up. And if we all do this, we will climb out of the muck that is 2020. But if we sit there and say, yeah, I can't wait till 2021 and it'll all be over, it won't. Nothing will change till we change it. But everybody who watches my show is doing something to change it. Everybody I talk about, they do stuff to change it, to make it better in some little way. And this is really fun to play with. For a guy who hates flail weapons, this is dabbling into something else that interests me. But before you can do that, I mean, like before you can even support me or anybody else, you got to support yourselves, folks. You got to be kind to yourselves. These are tough times. I admit it. I understand it. And build yourself up. Build the people around you up. Please. I'm a little dim light in the dark forest. But you know what happens sometimes really miraculous? I'll be sitting around in my little spot in the dark forest with my little tiny dim light, and another light will pop up next to me. And another. Maybe a brighter light comes in. And next thing you know, somebody with a searchlight comes waddling through. It's like, wow. And next thing you know, even though I'm now so dim, no one notices me, the whole forest is aglow with hope. And that's what I want. I want hope for everyone. I want a path, a guidance to a better way. In my case, and what the guild's about, is through Western martial arts. The healing sword, if you will. And if that's not your thing, do it through what it is your thing. If that's part of your thing, do it through that. Have fun. But be that. Now, I will be here. I will be here next week, God willing, and the creek don't rise. At 8/7 Central, right here. At 9/8 Central, Thursday, I will be on Stupid O'Clock with Joe Dog McKeel. I've only seen one episode. Seemed like a fun bunch of guys. I'm going to be on that, talking about what we do, I guess. I don't know, talk about what I do. You might want to get me there. And if you really want to regularly, just about every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm commenting on a show put out by Brian K. Morris of Rising Tide Production, which is called Never Mind the Furthermore. And that's from 10 to 12-ish on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Eastern time, I think. Yeah. I went west, but I went because I'm west of where I used to live, but the rest of Indiana is on an Eastern time zone. That's where I am. So I had to think about this for a second. It's always complicated. Other than that, guys, I love you guys. I really do. And I want you guys to stay safe. Take advantage of the coming time to take back some power. Alter your world so you don't feel you're being just crushed. Be kind to each other, and you know what? Go to CKOEPP.com. That's Cindy Kep's website. Look her up. And after you're done with that, be good to yourselves. Hug your family, those that you can reach. And as always, guys, support your local sword master.